Father God, I am just learning how to pray. Bear with me. First, I thank you for the life of everyone that's here with me. Then I thank you for the love you give me. Why? I don't know. I don't deserve it, and it hurts inside. Many a nights I cried and called your name out loud, but didn't call you when I was doing good, too proud. And still you gave me love. I wasn't used to that. Most of the people that gave me love ended up taking it back. That's something new to me. So I'm asking you for time to adjust. Let me make it there. I will be one you can trust. What I stand for, I put my life on. I do. I guess what I'm asking is, show me how to stand for you. And I will rap for you, sing for you, reach for you, preach for you, teach for you. I will love you like you love me, unconditionally. And I will always be prepared for whatever the mission will be. Give the nutrition to me, and I'll properly digest it. And when I give it back, I will show you word well invested. And whenever I go, before I go, let me give. Thanks to you, Lord, for my birth, for every day that I've lived. You gave me a love most of my life I didn't know was there. I give you my life because you cared. Amen.
Bridging the Gap. Episode 20. Tale of two generations. I'm with my OG. I'm the young OG. We're here live from the UAE, United Arab Emirates, Dubai, DXB. This is our home now, or soon to be. I'm the young OG, Ryan Yates. Yeah, I said the whole name. I ain't did that before.
No, you didn't say the whole name.
I said enough.
I mean, we're here. We
You know
might as
what I'm
well
saying?
let everybody know what the whole name is.
I'm with my OG, Julian King,
Oh, man.
You know.
We're just going to fly right over that, huh?
a.k.a. Jupac. And if you was
Ethan, pull that up. It's full.
if you were with us once before, then, you know, my guy got an alias. You know, I don't know. Some people may not know. But you know, my guy Eddie Kane, nice like this. Man, I love this, man. I'm gonna switch it up for you next time, though. Here we go.
Nice like this. I wish.
No, I'm kidding, man. What's up, big dog?
I was good until you played that.
Hey, man, I had to. I'm gonna switch it up next time.
That's not a good representation of me, though.
Man, you know.
No,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, you.
Eddie King has some issues there. You know what I'm saying? He has some.
Eddie Kane was definitely wild.
Yeah.
Definitely wild. I'm gonna switch it up next time though,
Right.
for sure.
Right.
But we coming off a great episode. Shout out to T now, who Tierra from Pratt. If he saw episode 19, that was our guest, our first guest. She blessed us and graced her presence with us. She's now back in LA safely, getting ready for the season. We with you, T. That banner chase begins now.
Right. Got to make it a trifecta. She got 2 already.
Man.
So she got to keep going.
She got 2 in the pandemic.
Yep.
Yeah, that's different,
Right.
man. It's been man, so I feel like the work week is always so crazy for us. It's like we finally get here and get a chance to breathe.
Yeah, this week's been rough.
Yeah.
And not to mention that the weather's changing a little bit too.
Right. So for our people, for the first time listeners, regular listeners, you know the deal. This is my high school coach, my mentor, family, and now we are business partners. Now, yes, you heard it right. 15 years ago, maybe a little bit less than that, I met Coach. And he was my coach from high school. And now here we are, business partners in Dubai. We are the head guys for Hoopmountain Dubai. That is our basketball brand, basketball academy. You know, just spreading the love, the culture of basketball to the young UAE families and youth. You'll hear us talk about that a lot. You'll probably be seeing the at Hoopmountain.ae Instagram on your screen right now. Hoopmountain.ae if you're looking for us online. Come check us out. You know, we killing it. But like the OG said, it was a rough week. It was a rough week.
Right, for sure.
Like, how do we even visualize that for people?
For those out there that are my age and, you know, maybe a little older, just imagine your worst day of the week surrounded by 3 and 4-year-olds.
3 and 4-year-olds
that aren't yours.
Yes, and we don't normally do that. Yeah, it's like 30 of them. We just lended a helping hand.
Right.
You know, that's one of those lessons you learn in entrepreneurship and just business. Period. Your relationships. Right. Sometimes you got to do things that even you may not feel like doing, but you know the relationship is important to you. So,
right. And sometimes you just got to come through for people.
For
good people, and the people that we're dealing with right now, we're lending a helping hand to. They've been really good to us, and so you know, we got to look out for each other.
Word, and that's your MO. Right, we aren't necessarily in a position to help somebody, right? Like by no means, but you know that's part of that being a part of a team, being a hooper, right? Being on a winning team,
right?
Because everybody's a part of a team at some point, but everybody's not a part of a winning team,
right?
Because that's different, right? But you just know you gotta
sacrifice, sacrifice.
It is what it is, right? It's a long-term thing, but I'm feeling good though going into the end of the week, though. As you said, that weather's changing.
Yeah.
That's going to be special. Those beach trips going to be different.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. More frequent.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now. All right. When this episode drops, Coach will be a week out from his birthday. Right? So Coach is the type of guy that he'll give his last to everybody, do all that he can. He'll give it to you and still talk some trash to you when he give it to you. Like, he's just that type of guy, but helping, right? But he has a hard time accepting acts of kindness. I'm not even going to call them gifts because it's acts of kindness. So I'm telling you on air, there are going to be a bunch of people on there, and I hope all of you who follow, at him when it comes around for his birthday, make sure you add him and make sure you hold him accountable. Mom told me this, right? I'm taking you to dinner for your birthday on me and Mom's, and I'll probably have something else special, but you cannot refuse it. If you don't want to do it on the day of your birthday, we can do it a few days before. That's cool, but you gotta go, man.
But I already told you that I can't do it.
You can.
Yeah, I got something planned already.
On your birthday, I know, but we're going to do it a few times before.
We don't have to do that.
Look, here you go.
I got to find some time. I got to call your mom and speak to her on the side.
It's too late.
Two real adults talking. Look, not the young OGs. These are two OGs.
She older than both of us, man.
Hey, I'm right there with her.
We're right there. So, look, y'all, when y'all check in with him in a little bit, just ask him, how was dinner? That was it. That's it. That's a good plate. Man, I gotta show some love to my OG, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got you.
But I don't like being told what to do.
I know. That's why I didn't tell you, man. That's why I didn't tell you. It's gonna be everybody like, yo, you gotta go. Come on, man. I'm gonna make reservations and throw your best suit. We're gonna be good, man. I promise you, man. You gotta trust me, man. I got you. But let's get into it. Basketball. We didn't even talk too much NBA stuff last time around, which is cool.
I mean, right? We had to give love to WNBA
for sure.
We have a legend in the house, so
for sure. But sometimes still though, like it'd be tough. It is tough to talk about NBA in the second half of the season because you kind of like just anticipating the playoffs, right? So like even right now, I know the Lakers gonna be fine. You see me. I know we're going to be fine. Everybody talking about, is it going to be this, it's going to be that. I know what Brown and AD are doing. Playing the long game. They'll be back healthy in time for everything to go together. But, the NBA is the best marketed sports league in the world by far, right? So one of the headlines, Drew Holiday gets his $160 million deal from Milwaukee. Let me start it. First of all,
Yeah, you hit that several times.
hey, and then good God, man.
40 years. Whew.
Man.
And that 160 goes a long way in Milwaukee.
Man, look, to his agent. Great job, man. But I say it's long overdue. I mean, for those casual NBA fans, you talk about what type of player Drew is. Drew Holiday.
For sure, vastly underrated. We're talking about a big, physical, athletic, fast guard that can get a bucket whenever he needs to, and is always team first, plays multiple positions, the 1, 2, he can slide to the 3, defends multiple positions. I mean, if you don't look at the stat sheet, sometimes you don't even get a chance to appreciate what he does because he's so smooth with everything that he does do. And he's never vocal in a negative manner. And, everybody around the league always sings his praises in terms of how they want to play with him. He's a great teammate. And man, we all know, we've seen what he's been doing. He's been in the wrong markets and on bad teams.
Man.
But this guy can play.
He can get to it. And you talk about Pierce. That's kind of the biggest praise you can get because he hasn't gotten his just due. Like, of course, now, this 160 mil is long overdue. Right. He's one of those guards that every guard makes sure they get their full night of rest before playing Drew Holiday, right? Everybody's always said it. Right. Even KD has said it. In the league right now, like, hands down, Drew Holiday is the best defender in the league.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons he hasn't been getting his just due is because he's been focused on other things outside of basketball, which is a lot of people don't know until recently, a couple of years ago, that his wife has been dealing with health issues. Mm-hmm. And so, he's been very consumed with being, a supportive husband and father. And, for him to balance all of that and be the best teammate he can be, I mean, that says a lot. But, he's a guy that once the game is over, he's not on social media and things like that. He's going home to his family. So that's, so he's been a victim of not being in the limelight, so to speak, with social media. So the casual fan wouldn't know his true worth to a team.
Yeah, he elite, man. Shout out to Drew. You deserve every ounce of that. Yeah. Shout out to Milwaukee for securing a stud for 5 years.
And the right personality for Milwaukee.
Man.
The right personality.
That's important, especially after you get Giannis to sign that extension. And after you give, Mike Conley got all them big contracts, all those things. I'm calling it out. Like, Drew Holiday been needed that, man. Shout out to his agent and everything else. More on a 10-day note, Boogie got picked up by the Clips. On a 10-day deal.
Let's get ready for the implosion.
They picked up. They got him and Rondo since we last talked. Yeah,
that's Tyronn Lue's got a lot to handle.
I mean, I think it starts with the same two though. Kawhi and PG.
Right, but that's the problem.
Yeah, that's where it is.
But you got the two best players on the team are introverts. And now you're bringing on two alphas who are past their primes, still serviceable players, but past their primes. Now, how is Coach Lue going to get those four to coexist?
I don't know, man. The Clips don't put any fear in my heart at all. at all. And I don't know what it is, but you know how sometimes they'll say when certain teams walk off the bus, they just up 10 before the scoreboard even cuts on, right? It's just certain things, just history-wise, right? The Palestra, right? And that's a legendary gym in Philly, big 5 games, You walking, I went on my visit to the University of Pennsylvania. You walk into the Palestra,
you can feel the history.
You can just feel it.
You can feel it.
Right? You won't really understand what that means unless you're a hooper, but sometimes you can just feel it.
Yeah.
You just feel it. Like, LA is a one-time show. It is what it is. They had their chance, and it's a wrap. Especially with the rest of the West doing what it's doing. I don't see it happening any other way. But
I mean,
they're good.
Scary though.
Yeah, they're good.
They're scary because it can go either way. It's 50-50. It can be really good.
Yeah.
Or they can.
Yeah.
So
meanwhile, Utah still Utah. They really moving. They're making it happen. Like if they go into the playoffs healthy, they're dangerous. You know, the Suns are playing well too, but they're still young. And you know you gotta go through that path, that journey.
Going back to Utah, you said that they're still being Utah, right?
Well, Utah of this new age.
Right. Well, so my thing is they're playing really, really well. Are they playing well enough that you would put some money on them? Not against your Lakers, but against someone else in the West.
Let me think about the West, because you know you gotta weigh both sides of it, right?
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is based on their record right now, we're expecting them at minimum,
right,
to make it to
pull up the standings, E. So we can look at it, right? I'm always taking the Lakers when it comes to that. Let's see, Western Conference get Jazz and the Nuggets. I'm taking the Jazz. Jazz and the Suns. Chris Paul makes it tough, but I'm taking the Jazz because of their supporting cast, right? So I'm betting on that with them. Jazz, and now when it comes to the Mavericks and the Trailblazers, I take the Jazz over. No, I'm taking the Mavericks.
We're not talking about specific matchups.
I'm talking about that's what I would bet on.
We're just talking about them being the number one team in the league, so to speak. We're expecting them to do no better than conference finals, right? If you're the number one team, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
would I bet on that?
Yeah.
The way the standings looking right now, would they play? Nope, because they would have to play us in the second round. The way it's telling right, I'm not betting on that, but I mean I wouldn't be surprised. So let's say that way.
Okay.
And I think that's a step into the right direction, considering what Utah is, right?
Okay.
I think it's a step in the right direction, though. But those standings look crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's a dog fight too. And remember, it's a play-in game for the 7 through 10 seeds, I believe.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So is that a series for the play?
One game.
Okay.
So if the higher, I believe what it was last year was if I'm the 6th seed, if I'm the 7th seed and I play the 10th seed and I beat this 10 seed, then I'm good. Okay. But if the 10 seed beats me, then they get to play another game to get into the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah. One game, 2 games.
That's like March Madness right there.
Anything can happen. And with the way the West is, you know, ain't no telling how that'll go. Because those Mavericks, those Grizzlies, San Antonio.
You speaking of the Grizzlies, with Ja getting healthy, they're creeping back up.
Look, there's 2 people I think should be signature shoe people. Ja Morant is one, and Luka Doncic is the other. I think those 2 need some signature shoes. So I seen a little post going around talking about like AD and all those other things, but Luka, because Luka got a whole different type of star power with it because of international. But Ja giving me AI vibes. I don't know where he got to go to get that type of thing off, but he gonna deserve one soon, for sure. Let's see where we at on the rest of that news. So we'll see what the Clippers do. You know, Lonzo Ball. He's been killing it. You know, he was out for a little while with injury. He came back the other night at 8 trade balls, 27 points, 9 boards, like 6 assists. Mean. And this is after hearing all the trade talks, hearing that there's a young kid out of Virginia Tech who's from Canada. I think he's cousins with SGA out of OKC. There's Nichols Alexander. He played under C-Web. Shout out to Christian Webster, Virginia Tech. And, you know, they were talking about he going to be the guard of the future. You know, my boy said LaMelo lighting fire on his ass. You know, so Lonzo is I've always been an advocate. Lonzo, he getting right. He getting right.
Yeah, he's finally being aggressive, more aggressive, because, he's been a guy that, let me do just enough to run the show. Let me do just enough to strap up my guy and keep everyone happy, everybody getting touches. But today's NBA is a little different, man. You're the point guard. You gotta get some buckets sometimes and let people know you're on the floor. And so he's starting to do that now. He's got more confidence in his jumper because he finally changed his form. And he's shooting it now. You can tell he's expecting it to go in.
Yeah.
So it's changing his play for sure.
You know what I like most about it? LeVar always said this. He always said, "My boys work." Right?
Right.
Like, that's one of those things that people never really put in the headlines or pay much attention to. It got, buried beneath everything else. But evidently, LaMelo put in work, right?
Yeah.
Lonzo put in his work. And Lonzo had to put in even more because he really had to adjust like much faster. He didn't go overseas and get to go do all that. He had to work on his body, change his shooting, learn the game, learn the different reads and how to apply. And it's showing. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely work. I don't think many basketball people knew that they worked. I mean, listen, you change your form over the course of a summer. I mean, that's big. That means you were spending hours in the gym,
Yeah.
Hours.
Yeah, that's the real deal. I mean, that's when we talk about being a pro.
Yep.
You got to approach that game completely different now.
Yep.
And talking about basketball right now anyway, we talk about in college sometimes after, and you can attest to this, after basketball season in college, it's like everything just go quick, right? Because it go over 2 seasons. So right now in the NBA, we've been seeing a lot of blowouts. Like a lot of blowouts. There's randomly people getting blown out. And it's getting passed around. People getting spanked everywhere. Right? Like, it's how do you phrase that? Is that like a mid-season wall? What is that? Like people need to find a new sense of motivation?
I think it's a rest factor. This is an uncharted territory for the NBA and for everybody where most teams played last year in the bubble and turned right back around and had to play again. And, I know for the casual fan, they're thinking that, these guys make millions of dollars and, it's their job. But I mean, it is tough. It can be, it's not as challenging as it was in the past because they have more modern advances and things like that, but it's still a grind. And if the ultimate goal is to perform well in the playoffs, you want to make sure that you keep your guys ready to go. And that's something that, we were robbed of a few better finals back in the day because of injury, So keeping these guys, ready to go is most important because nobody remembers. I mean, people remember, but people don't care as much if you go, you finish in second place regular season and then you bow out the first round because you got injury. Nobody cares about that.
Or if you go, 73-9 or something like that, and then you don't win the chip. Yeah,
they just got smacked by 61 the other day too.
Ooh.
They were down 61. I don't know what the
yeah.
I stopped watching it, but
man, we've talked about this before, and we're gonna let it brew for a little bit. When season 1 is over, we got some, something in the archives we're going to be able to pull up. But we talked about Steph and what it would look like if Steph had to lead a team without Clay, without KD, and had to do his best AI or even Dame Lillard impersonation. We won't get into that now, but I'm just going to throw it out there for the people and let you, think about it.
All right.
Yeah, we'll get into it though, because we had these talks extensively, but things looking a little fishy over there. Yeah, we'll see what that sounds like. But let me make sure that I take this moment to shout out Roy Williams. Roy Williams, head coach of UNC. He won 2 titles with us. Won a title in Kansas. Legendary coach. Great basketball pioneer. He just retired as University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill head coach for the men's basketball team. So first of all, let's get a round of applause for that. Let me make sure. Big time. Thank you for everything. It's been an interesting last couple of years too, and especially with this pandemic. I'm sure that he already was dealing with vertigo, health issues, and things like that. So I'm sure the pandemic allowed them to just go ahead and jump into that. Look, time to be with my grandkids vibe.
Sure.
Yeah.
He did all he could do at Carolina. I mean, you said I thought he won 3 at Carolina.
I don't know if it's we got one. We lost one to Villanova. So I know we got one with Rashard McCants, and we got.
I can't see that far.
Yeah, we got 3.
Yeah,
we got the first one. Yeah, we got 3 at UNC. Yeah, we got 04, 05, 08, and 09. Yes, and 2016, 17. Yeah, so I misspoke, but thank you. Regardless, big time guy on the sideline. You got to watch him from a coaching perspective. I got to go up like thinking I could possibly play with him, knowing I wasn't going there. But what was that? What was Roy Williams like from a coaching perspective?
He's one of the few college legends who I would view as a player's coach. You never heard any players say anything bad about him. They all enjoyed playing with him, and he seemed to have a genuine delight in terms of being with his guys and them with him. And he seemed to always get the most out of his guys. And they played up tempo, played hard, and win or lose, they were always, how can I say it, that gentleman-like North Carolina way. And that's something that needs to be revered, because it was almost as if Dean Smith never left.
Word. Word. What I like that only when you talk about coaches being team players or players coach, Rashard McCants, man. You're a clown, man. I gotta say that online. Like that's it. But now we talk about UNC, that's college basketball royalty.
Right.
It's Duke, it's Kansas, it's UNC, it's Kentucky.
Yep.
Right. That's the blue bloods. So filling in that seat, you got a legendary name. No coach has not won a championship at UNC during that tenure besides Dougherty, I believe.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
So like you get in that seat, you know what the deal is. Right now, they just announced that Hubert Davis, former player, is the head coach of and he was formerly the assistant under that realm. So that's just keeping continuity there. What do you see UNC looking like going forward under his realm?
I personally, of course I'm rooting for him. He's I'm not from Virginia, but I lived there for a certain amount of time. So, anybody from Virginia, I'd like to see him do well. He's African-American.
Mm-hmm.
He's a loyal assistant. He was there for 8-9 years. Being on the bench at Carolina for that length of time with that success, he had several opportunities to be a head coach somewhere else. And for him to stay says a lot about his character. Because I'm not mistaken, he actually left a pretty lucrative job on air.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To go sit on the bench. And so I don't see much of a drop off. I do see maybe just a slight change in terms of a new age of Carolina basketball. But like I said, Roy was very progressive though. And he changed with the times. So I don't see it being that much of a drop off. And quite frankly, the fact that he's African American could lead to them landing more in-state talent.
Yes. So, yeah. Especially now with the switch.
Yeah.
Master P's son, who's highly touted, he just committed to Tennessee State University on Stephen A. Smith's show.
Oh wow!
Right, and you got the ranks of like North Carolina Central, and other HBCUs or predominantly Black colleges that are making a trend. And players are also wanting to take more control of their legacy. So, that may lead to some new things.
Yep.
Shout out to Roy, UNC. Let's keep pushing. Now let's get to the good stuff though. They call him the truth for a reason. They call him the truth for a reason. Paul Pierce. Man, listen. Paul, man. I don't care what ESPN talking about. Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce had some fun on his off night. He was chilling at home, private residence, you know what I'm saying? Doing things that legally adults can do with no problem. You know, NBA champ, finals MVP, you know what I'm saying? Future Hall of Famer in his own right. One of the greatest Celtics ever. Millions in the bank.
Millions.
Multi.
Yeah.
He had a little fun.
Right.
You know? Did you see it? It was on Instagram Live, you know.
I did see it. That is one of the moments on social media that I did see, because I had everybody in the world that I know sending it to me.
What were they saying, though?
Paul is a wild boy, but I'm proud of him. He's a legend, and he wasn't going to be tied down to corporate America, because he was. Because he's taking care of himself and his family, he's free.
Yeah, look, why?
Yeah.
Why? Look. So they said that immediately ESPN fired Paul Pierce for his racy Instagram Live.
Right.
The one thing that's like, it just seems so outlandish to this is that he wasn't doing anything illegal.
Right.
It wasn't nothing that anybody really can be upset about. But hey, it is what it is, you know. Immediately after, he said, just stay tuned to what I got coming next. He said, I can't lose even when I lose because I'm winning. He said, big things coming soon. So stay tuned. So make sure you smile. So
God bless him. God bless him.
Paul Pierce, we'll see you, man. It's only one truth. That's one of the best nicknames ever, too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We talked about that once in the car one day, just how players back in the day, you had to earn a nickname. You couldn't just give yourself one because it sounded cool or you thought that that's what your game was patterned up. No, people would give you a name,
right,
if you could ball.
Now they doing it for branding.
Yeah.
I need a sneaker that's going to be cool.
Right.
Well, but shout out to him. So talk about legends. None other than the man himself, LeBron James. Space Jam, A New Legacy. The trailer came out. It looks dope. Like visually, looks crazy. You guys, Ethan, you got to figure out whatever animation, cartoon stuff they got going on over there. We need all of that. Because Bron and Pixar or whoever they're doing it with was killing it. They look dope. The story was completely different. I think LeBron was quoted saying it's not Space Jam 2, it's Space Jam New Legacy. It's not a sequel to it. It's its own story. And from what I saw in the trailer, it's going to be interesting. Yeah. It's going to be dope.
Let's face it, with the things you have to work with now, and you're looking at past successes and mistakes, and it's LeBron. I mean, he pretty much doesn't associate anything that's not going to be a winner.
Right.
So, just from watching the little clip that I saw, I was like, whoa, the kids are going to go crazy for that.
Crazy. And what was dope was the Goon Squad that they had this time. The Goon Squad it's real deal.
Right.
And the Goon Squad, they weren't like the traditional Monstars last time. They had like some crazy, like Clay was all fire.
Right.
Dame was like a titanium robot or something crazy. Like they were looking wild. So AD, Dame, DT, aka Diana Taurasi, who we just talked about last episode, who's as mean as an assassin as there is. And then we got Klay Thompson, NECA, Tierra's teammate, and that's 4. Yeah, so it's DT, AD, Dame, and NECA, and Klay Thompson. That's a mean squad he got to go against.
You talked about the Klay having the fire stuff. That's about right,
man.
It's always a flamethrower. If that thing touches his hand, it's gone. It's
gone.
Yeah.
How LeBron gonna win this one? That's what I want to see. Like, how you gonna win this, LeBron? Like, you gotta make this happen. But I want to see how you gonna do that, because they got one for you over there. Ain't no Muggsy Bowls popping up. Like they got some G's over there. I'm excited. They said it come out July 16th, so it's gonna be a dope one for sure. I think we'll jump into. Well, me as a Laker fan, I gotta point this out because it make me feel good, right? Man, can you pull up the standings? Where are the Boston Celtics at in the Eastern Conference? Shout out to Steve Gibbs and my guy Mala in Boston. You know, those Boston fans. Celtics are in 7th place right now, sitting at, what's that, 26 and 25 or 25 and 25? Man, we talked about it about probably like 4 episodes ago. Danny Ainge.
What you gonna do?
And I think it's on him because I'm even seeing a lot of people, like other people in management and around the NBA, saying they don't trust him to work with them.
Yeah. Because it's those handshake agreements never benefit both parties. You leave that meeting or whatever. You're expecting to get 2 players, and you end up getting nothing, and
a draft pick.
and he has your first round picks for the next 10 years. So
man, finessing. So
yeah.
It's going to be interesting because that East is just getting better and better. So
sure.
What's it look like for Boston? Like, what is Boston going to look like? Are they going to end up trading one of the young studs they got between JB and Tatum?
To fill the void that they need to fill, they may have to, because we know they need a big. They need a true big. Small ball hasn't really been cutting it for them recently because Rozier's gone. Because before they had so much firepower and they were guard and wing heavy, it didn't really matter. But even the bigs they had before that were real versatile are gone. Olynyk and those guys, like you need guys like that.
And they were big too.
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm loving it. All right, almost the end of the season. Most of the MVP guys are back healthy, or they will be surely soon. MVP ladder, right? Right now, I think at the top of the MVP ladder they have the Joker. Number 2, Dame. 3, Harden. 4 is Giannis, and 5 is Luka for now. And then the next 5 would be LeBron and Embiid. And even they got Devin Booker in the top 10 of that.
Finally.
Yeah. And then they got Kyrie at 9 and Kawhi at 8. So I made my preseason prediction on MVP, and I thought it was going to be AD. Mm-hmm. And I said barring injury. Sure enough, here we are.
Always going to be.
And then earlier in the year when things were moving, I said Joel Embiid. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with Embiid. If Philly finishes strong, and because after missing like 5 weeks, he came back and had 24 and 13 or whatever. But I think that Embiid is going to, and I think so because of Doc, right? Because sometimes you need somebody putting a battery in your back. Right. So I think so because of Doc that Embiid is going to push for that win. If not, I'm going Dame. So I'm going Embiid or Dame for my MVP prediction at the end of the year.
I'm so up in the air with this. I'm all in place, all over the place because each week it changes just because some people are sitting out for rest, some people are sitting out for injury. Some teams are making a late season push. If I had to just pick one person, I think that's been the most consistent all year, I'm going with Joker.
Even over Dame? See, the reason why I don't pick Joker over Dame is because Dame had to win, and I think they might be in 4th or 5th place. Dame had to win without Nurkic for an extended period of time again, and without CJ again. And then outside of that, we don't even really know who's on the Portland team for real. All right, we got Melo, Hall of Famer Carmelo, but Dame carried that in the West as a guard too, and kept them afloat again, for the last 3 or 4 years. I think he's been the most consistent.
I love Dame, but Dame had moments where he was from another planet, but then he had other moments where he was just, Dame, just normally killing. But but Luke has been doing. Joker's been doing stuff from day one. I mean, I know he's had his crew with him the whole time, but there are a bunch of youngins running around too.
Yeah.
And so, they're trying to figure out. So I give him the slight edge over there. I love Dame.
Yeah.
I'm giving him a slight edge on that.
Yeah.
If they're going to go with what we have right now.
Yeah. So you got Joker, that's yours. You going for a plan B, for a backup just in case?
If I had to go with a backup, more than likely I'm going Harden.
Okay.
Because he came in and did what people didn't think he would do. And when he's on the floor with Kyrie, and then when KD that monster comes back, I mean, man.
Yeah. I mean, the record has shown, I think they're like 26-7 with him, and then like 9-7 without him.
Yeah.
So that would be so crazy. Has anybody ever won MVP after being traded midseason? Like, that's crazy. I don't know. That'll be a whole different space. Forget Charles Barkley talking about he the best offensive player he's ever seen in his life. Like, that nonsense there.
He's one of them, though.
Yeah.
He's not the best.
No, he's talking about even better than Kobe and Mike. Like, get out of here. But to do that, man, they just got to win something, though.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
That's always going to be hovering over James' head, that dark cloud. You got to win something, man.
You got to. All right. So, head back to that page for me, big guy. My man Ethan over there. Not that one.
No San Diego Charger socks.
Man, new socks on. We're not going to put them on camera, though. Because, that'll get them too much love.
Right.
But one of the cool things that we got to get into was a Netflix series, Last Chance U. Everybody that's familiar with Last Chance U, it's typically about football. That last football season was at Independence College. Oof. Yeah, that one was nuts. They had to rebrand. I can see you in the jacuzzi at the end of the night after the game, sitting there talking about, you definitely need a jacuzzi anyway, but sitting in the jacuzzi like, man, these dudes just don't know. That was some of the wildest ever. Like, that was wild. So now Last Chance U is doing basketball. So they head over to East LA College. ELAC. Man, first of all, I don't even know if people really understand LA culture. Like, I love palm trees. I love the sunset. We talked about it when T was here, but that West Coast is tough. That place is tough. There's a lot going on over there, and it's embedded deep rooted into the culture. Right. But they head over to Last Chance U, and it's for ELAC, East LA College, junior college. Man, immediately, Coach Mosley, John Mosley, the head coach, when I saw him from the first 2 episodes, I was like, oh, Coach is going to love this. Coach is going to love this. I just let you get into it, like feelings, reactions, just seeing a coach at the junior college level for college basketball especially, and how that works and the similarities to that and what you got to deal with.
Well, that definitely had a soft spot in my heart, watching him from his day-to-day routine and how he's dealing with his family, his friends, and his team. That's why I kind of wore this Blessed Sacrament shirt, because I could feel his pain. People don't know that even though I coached with you guys at TC Williams in Alexandria, I worked in Northwest DC. And, I would thank God that the school was so supportive of me. They would allow me to kind of make my own schedule where I could leave early enough to fight DC traffic, which is 5 times worse than Dubai traffic, by the way, everybody. And try to make it over to practice so I can get a chance to, see the freshman guys on the freshman team, the JV team, and then, practice with you guys as well. And so, I could feel his pain when he was, contemplating getting a regular job after coaching at the Division I level for 6 years, or taking this junior college job where at the beginning, he wasn't sure they would get him in the building. And that's all he wanted in me because, he needed to provide for his family as well, in addition to take care of his basketball team. So, so those moments really hit me hard because I, just watching him do everything from, helping his assistants wash uniforms, mop the floor, trying to figure out how, his team would get from point A to point B and paying for stuff on his own credit card, and then, taking care of his family at the same time and dealing with all these personalities coming in on this team. And a lot of those kids were troubled kids. And man,
the stories behind them, like KJ.
Yep.
KJ was a local kid who was a hooper, was already killing it known, but he just didn't have the grades.
Yep.
He tried hard, but school just wasn't his thing.
Yep.
Energy guy.
Good guy, good teammate.
Great kid, right? Deshaun, who lost his parent, his mom, his rock, right? Went to UTEP
as a walk
on it,
man,
and earned it.
Yep.
Just for that coach to be fired, and then the new AD said they're not honoring that. Like in the midst of losing your mom, when you don't have any other family, and then you got Joe, who's from around the way, from home, DC area. He's from DC, and just I could tell that attitude. Like that's when you're back against the wall, and you never really had anybody who said they was going to be there actually be there,
right?
No matter what. Right? Or when you had those pitfalls, injuries and things, and you like, I don't know where to go.
Right.
And nobody ever told you that this could happen. And you're like, then now you just lashing out, figuring it out.
Yeah. This guy was 4 years removed from college, man.
Man.
And we watched this whole thing, transpire over an entire season. And this young man went to an illustrious, private school, prep school, Oak Hill, and not one time did he mention having any support from them afterwards or being able to go back or just, calling them for advice. And so that was very troubling to me because, he and Coach Mosley butted heads a lot, but in the back of his mind, he knew, his heart, he knew Coach Mosley had his back, through thick and thin, man. And that's tough because, on the coach is trying because you're, as Coach Mosley said, how far do I let him go before he disrupts my team?
Yeah.
And so, for them to make it that far, man, and to be cut short by COVID, man, that
it's interesting though, because you talk about, like, I know you personally, right. So I know you're gonna fight for players because you've been there in those shoes when you needed somebody to fight for you. The right guidance. And then you see enough of it daily to where it's like, man, kids just need more, better guidance. Like it's our responsibility to do that. Like when you in that position, dealing with the anger issues Joe had, like Joe was a week out of jail when he came to the to tryout.
Right.
Right? A week out, And when you say I'm not gonna give up to him, like what is that threshold? How do you know when it's time to go or when I'm just going to keep pushing or keep giving them what I got?
Right. Coach had a real sense of, of a higher meaning and higher purpose in life, that through his religion. So that was his foundation. Two, knowing that Joe was talented and for him to win it all, they did need Joe. Coach is not a dummy. He's, he was a 6-year assistant coach in D1 level successfully. And then he had been probably the best coach at ELAC up to that point, even though he hadn't won it. And so, those things and just the fact that Joe had some bad days, but he had some real good days as well. So, as a coach, you got to be able to take the good with the bad and know where each kid is coming from. And, the bad moments that Joe had was from just lack of support when he was younger.
Yeah.
Because, you always need somebody to put their foot up your butt sometimes and tell you what you don't want to hear on a consistent basis. But you let your actions speak, louder than your words. And, and kids can, they can sense that, and 9 times out of 10, those kids will respond. And you could just tell Joe didn't have that. Joe, you could tell he kind of floated through based on his talent.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting too is what I noticed about Joe is for the most part, he was a real supportive teammate.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even through his outbursts, and you can tell he was working through all of that stuff, you know, because now you're an adult doing that. It's one thing, 16, but now you 22, 23, 21 or whatever, and you like, I need my autonomy as a man.
Right.
I need to figure out my life as a man, but I also need to be humble enough and show some humility here and admit when I'm wrong. Like, who gonna let me work through these outbursts like that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And his teammates were already there. Like, that for me was telling too, because his teammates ain't never really give up on him either.
Right.
You know, that's a special group right there.
Yeah, I mean, when Coach said that was you guys are my best group ever, you know, a lot of coaches say that to every group, but you could tell that he meant that because they went through so much, man, you know, because it could have been, you know, instead of them being 27-1, 28-1, whatever it was, it could have been easily, you know,
19-5, right?
14-13.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, it's just that was just a great, you know, great show, man. Like that really, I know there was a lot of coaches around the world saying, "Wow, I feel where this guy's coming from."
And what we always talked about, you talked about it before, was you're only going to be as successful as your staff.
Yep.
Right? Yep. His staff was gangster, first of all. He probably couldn't have a better picked staff for that, right? OG in the wheelchair.
Yes.
I think that's Coach Hunter or Coach Frank. I'm not sure. But OG in the wheelchair, you talking about you coming from BMF. You know what I'm saying? Like that era of things.
There's nothing you hadn't seen. No. Nothing you hadn't seen.
Because he was always calm.
Yep.
He was always calm when he was talking to them kids.
Yep.
Always. Right? Like, and then what ended up happening to him when he got paralyzed, it sounded like a freak accident.
Yep. I'm just playing around.
Yeah. Like those things can happen. But when you got somebody, Coach Ken, that's what it is. Right. Coach Ken. And then you get somebody to come in later, which I think was Coach Frank. And that came in after winning his things and he came in at a low cost.
Yeah.
Right. I'll let you talk about the staff, then I got another question.
Yeah, man. The staff that he had, those were angels sent from God, man, dealing with that group that he had. You know, those guys were patient, not concerned about, of course they're concerned about providing for their family, concerned about the money, but once stepping on the campus and getting a chance to be in the mix, you could tell they were like, we're here for these kids. We're here for these kids. And, we're going to be okay because we're adults already. We've already made the tough decisions and we're doing the right thing. You know, these guys need that opportunity. And you couldn't find a better mix, man. You know, you got Coach Mosley who's breathing fire and brimstone. You know, you got the assistant coach. They used to do the jerseys and, talk about how the players want to come in and they need to feel like they're in a big time program and things like that. And he was driving from the suburbs every day.
And doing study hall.
Man, and not being a part of the faculty, doing all the cooking and all that stuff, man, and being the big brother like figure to the team. And you got Coach Ken, who's kind of like, he's like Coach Jones was to you guys.
The whisper.
When he
that's the Godfather.
Yeah.
When they talk.
Yeah, you listen, man. And it's just like, they get your ear so fast. And that when they raise their tone, that it's something you need to listen to. And so you just couldn't find a more supportive staff, man, and hard working like that. Coach Mosley, with all he had on his plate, he didn't have time to go out there and be that major recruiter that he was when he was an assistant. So Coach Ken, knowing everybody and knowing every kid, come on, man.
That's gangster.
Yeah, somebody out there in college basketball needs to hire that man.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, he just do. Yep. That. What I also noticed in that was for as much as you take on, right, as a coach, and not just a coach who's saying, I'm going to coach a basketball team, put my hours in the league, but I'm going to change young men's lives. So that means I'm going to have to, he got on them after games and practices. he makes them lift.
Yep.
So instead of me going with my family, I'm here with you.
Yep.
Right? Don't play with this because I'm not playing with it.
Yep.
But doing that, and then Coach Rob or whatever, maybe Coach Rob or Coach Frank, I got to make sure I get that right. But Coach Rob, I think that's who it was, going and driving from the suburbs and then taking a huge pay cut. Coach Mosley talking about from the beginning when he was first with his wife, making $15,000 or whatever that was. And having that support from your wife or anywhere at home, man, when you're carrying that much energy, like as for you, some people, my mom is my support, my mom, my aunt, my uncle, but talk about how important it is for a coach to make sure you have some type of life.
It's extremely important because you need time away and solace, for yourself, just because you go through so many emotions each season because each individual player emits a certain type of emotion that you have to tackle head on as a coach because you can't treat everybody the same. And if you depending on the type of kids that you have on your team, it could be from one extreme to the other. It could be a young man or a young lady that comes from a really good, family background and they seem to have everything in place and you're thinking that they have no excuses to fail, but you don't know the inner workings of that household once that door closes at night. It could be somebody from a less fortunate background, that, they're suffering with finances or family tragedy or something like that, or, living in a bad area and every day is a struggle. And so, you as a coach, as a teacher, mentor, whatever you do involving working with kids, you take that stuff home with you sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to, we talk about this with our kids all the time, time management. You got to find times for yourself and for your family, your loved ones, because if not, it's not going to work because you'll get to it'll come to a boiling point at some point in time where, you have to make a decision. Mm-hmm. Is it me or them?
That burnout real.
Burnout. Yeah, serious, man.
Yeah. That's why that trip to the mountains was interesting. When I saw them taking that trip to the mountains, I was like, oh, I know Coach gonna love this, right? Because those hood kids, they from the concrete, from the jungle. Yep. So you don't think about going out to no type of mountains and that's the way you need to enjoy. Nor does anybody tell you that that's okay for you to do. Right. I always tell people, coaches, the Groupon King, right? I was in college and sometimes it's hard to get them on the phone. And I'm like, yo, where you at? I'm in Niagara Falls for the weekend or I'm on the beach or something. I'm like, man, what? But I ask, like, when did you know or realize that for your sanity and for everybody else's safety around, I got to get out. I got to go get here. And the mountains is my thing, or so-and-so is my thing. And then how do you put that in play for a youngin', who think basketball is all that there is, but not knowing there's enough time in the day to do everything?
I think the first time I really, ever since I was, birth, we've always been moving around a lot. My dad was in the military, and then, my mom and dad got divorced. My stepfather was in the military. So, we've moved around a lot. And so I've always been one to go out and try new things. But I never, just from a traditional Black family with old Southern parents, vacation wasn't anything on our radar. You know what I'm saying? That's for all the old school guys, we need to take no vacation. We need to go to the doctor. So my freshman year in college is when I knew I needed to get away from them. I going to school at Temple, one of the top programs in the country, playing for Hall of Fame coach. We're in the middle of North Philly. It ain't the Temple that y'all know right now. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't Temple Town.
Yeah, it ain't Temple Town. It was Temple Block back there. So, just getting a chance to go to the Poconos in Pennsylvania.
You go to Hershey Park?
Yeah, I've been all that stuff there, and just get out of the city for a minute and getting a chance to, be around Mother Nature and feel free for 48 hours, something like that, and just clear your mind and reset. So I from that point on, I said, you know what, any chance I get, I'm going to go do something.
Yeah.
Go do something I haven't done before. And, and I've been consistent with that. And once I started with coaching with you guys, I had to ramp it up a little bit more because I had some rough seasons, man. Even if we may have won 15, 16 in a row, but the winning 15, 16 in a row was tough sometimes. Getting everybody.
Making sure everybody show up.
Yeah. Tomas, what I'm saying? So,
man, we had to earn that one. Yeah, I feel you though, because, I definitely paid attention to when you said it. My Uncle Ro always said that. Always made sure I knew, look, you got to experience it. And then AAU was different for us. We traveled a lot anyway.
Right.
So I was kind of used to that. We'd been almost every state by the time I was a senior in high school. So when I got to college, though, it was different. I was in the Valley, right? They call it Shenandoah Valley, God's country, right? Just because of it's nothing but hills, mountains, land, and beautiful sunsets.
Bears.
Man, I stayed away from those sections, though. But, you see the foxes and everything else. So I even got the chance to have my own space to where I was like, I can hear myself think. Yep. I can think calm. I can think clear. While this is slow pace from what I'm used to being back home, I need this right now. I'm going to stay for grad school. I'm going to stay until I figure it out because it helps me not get caught up in the rat race that we have in the crib or, all those other different distractions. So, that's something that we always going to encourage.
Right.
Do more, step outside of your comfort zone, try to get away from the status quo and take some time to relax. Because you don't have to be what they say, and I'm learning myself, productive every day. Or productivity looks different every day. Yeah. It doesn't mean you burning out on a laptop as long as you can. Because we feel it. Yeah. We feel it. We know we need a break. We know right now we're not in a space where we can, but we know we need one and we can take one and business will still be fine. All right. So, that college stuff is big time though. So I loved watching that. I love the fact that almost all of them got to school. At least 5 of them got to schools. Right. Even in the midst of the pandemic. Right. Love seeing that. But when we talk last chance, we talk college basketball, we also got to talk about the flip side of that. It doesn't always work out for players.
Right.
Doesn't always work out for coaches. The transfer portal, right? The transfer portal it's been even more of a topic of discussion over the last 4 or 5 years. That's the college basketball database to where all of the players interested in transferring, so they can throw their name in there like their NBA draft type thing, right? And see what other offers they can get, right? And of course, you always have those guys who graduate, do their 4 years at a university, but then they're eligible for a 5th year, so they grad transfers,
yep.
Right? But we're talking more specifically about those who go to a school, first year, second year, doesn't pan out, and they're like, it's time to go. Yep. And those transfer numbers are increasing daily, you're over 1,200, a year at a time. And man, just the comments, right? Some coaches are saying it's chaos. Others are saying it's like the Wild Wild West. It's crazy town. It's horrendous for sports. Another coach is saying it's like speed date. It's like speed dating.
Right.
Some people, coaches, of course, are saying, I think this is from Jay Wright, I don't think it's good for college basketball, but it's good for the student athletes, and that's what we're all here for. We'll all adjust. It's going to make it a little bit messier. I don't know how you would say it's not good for college basketball, but it's good for the student athlete. That's interesting, but we can dive into that later. But this is a transfer portal, and I think it's a little bit ironic of coaches judging that and saying that, because a coach can go to a school, get a job somewhere else, leave the next year, no issues, transfer there. And it's all good, no problem there. But how do you being a player that transferred, right? How do you see the transfer portal, and what do you think needs to change? How it's going to go, and how do you feel it?
Well, I'm always going to be one advocating for the student athlete first, because the coaches have their points of view, but the coaches have salaries, and of course, not every college coach is a multimillionaire, but there are a lot of guys pulling down some big time bucks each year. And so, I'm just thinking about times have changed. When I was in school, when you signed a 4-year scholarship, you were pretty much guaranteed that 4-year scholarship. You have to do something really outrageous to get thrown out of school. Now it's 1 year renewable. So that coach can essentially X you out after 1 year, depending on what type of program they have and that they aspire to. And
see, I don't think everybody knows that.
Oh yeah,
the 1 year renewable.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed that you have 4 years guaranteed. You got to make sure you do what you're supposed to do each year. And so it's a business. And so like you said, coaches can take a new job, just after signing an extension and saying I'm going to be a Wildcat coach for life. And then someone else calls, North Carolina calls. I got to do what's best for my family. It was what's wrong with that student athlete doing what's best for them and their family, because they're just getting a chance to start their lives. You've already established your life, so you can rebound a little bit better. And the coaches saying that it's chaotic, those are the coaches that are unwilling to change. That's why they're saying it's chaotic. Things change. That's just how it goes, man. The coaches who are successful, like you mentioned Jay Wright commenting on it, what has he been doing all these years? Adjusting.
Yeah, that's true. When you transferred, mentally, where were you at in that space? I know now you look back on it differently and everything, but mentally, where were you in that space?
I was in a negative space, man.
Mm-hmm.
A negative space. I didn't have anybody in my corner that was an experienced student athlete once before themselves, and someone who could kind of like reel me in and speak to me in a manner that I would trust. I had people, like my family telling me, no matter what, stay where you are, because they know the coach that I was with was a great father figure, but the basketball side of me, I wasn't happy. And not to say I was right or wrong, I just wasn't happy. And so, because as a young player, you can't see certain things in front of you because they may not be as bright as you want them to be. And so, they're going to get brighter as time goes on. I didn't know that. And so, I made some quick decisions,
mm-hmm.
and kind of went against the advice of, those people who did care about me, and coaches included. And so I'm all over the place. So I can see that the players that are transferring now, there's even more pressure on them because there's social media, instead of running into your boys that are telling you, man, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. You got everybody commenting. You got people, that are desk jockeys saying that you should be doing this, you should be doing that, or questioning your coach or questioning the environment you're in or whatever. And so, these guys, their mind is all over the place because they're still young. And for some, it's self-awareness too, because, with all of that, craziness that's going on in your head, there's also a lot of guys now that you have access to more information.
Yeah.
So you're knowing like, whoa. The Fab Five went through this, so I could do this. So now I know what my worth is, what my options are. So why not take full advantage of them? Because that's what you're supposed to do when you go to college anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's, there's the old head side of me says for some kids, you may be transferring too soon, but then the adjustment side of me says you got to do what's best for you.
Right.
And as long as you're within the rules, why not?
Yeah. It's interesting space because I feel a little different when I see people just automatically labeling a kid quitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's quitting, and then there's the fact that when it comes to college basketball, and almost everybody that goes to college basketball, at least in their first year, they have some dreams of playing professionally at some level.
Right.
Sometimes by the sophomore, junior year, people realize, all right, I'm not going overseas. I can get this, I can get that. But when you're looking at it, you got 4 years to set up your life how you want to set it up, right? If you don't make it in each year, it matters, right? Because pro basketball gets younger and younger. Somebody's always coming up after you, right? Those seats are being filled quick. You got international players coming here and there. You got so much. The game is growing. Pressure that you talked about,
yep.
right? And then people are people. You get to a spot and you realize I'm not a priority like they said I was going to be, right? Regardless of what people are saying in the media, it's like whatever you thought it was like being here, it's not that. And I need something different. I'm not quitting, but if I don't go anywhere, I'm not going to realize my dreams.
Well, quitting on yourself could be staying somewhere that you're not happy.
And just taking the lumps.
I mean, that's just, that's just settling. So, when people say quitting sometimes, again, that's a lot of old heads saying that this is the way it was. That ain't always the right way.
Right.
We've learned that over time, that just because you learned a certain thing or learned it a certain way doesn't make it always right, man.
Right.
There's some things I look back now and I'm thinking about, man, I was dead wrong.
Right.
But I didn't know any better. I was going by what was the norm at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to change. If you can't change, you're a dinosaur.
Bridging the gap, ladies and gentlemen. This is the point right here. 20 years apart. The whole reason we're here is to bridge the gap between the older and the younger. And part of it is the fact that we don't get to sit and talk with our old heads enough. And then when we get there, it's not always a candid conversation, right? They don't always tell. I'm fortunate enough to my bookends, my old heads are going to tell it exactly how it is, no matter what, even if they're wrong. But just to see it don't take no sweat off your back for you to admit that, look, I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Seeing it that way was wrong, and don't take it there. So, and that's important because those people making those decisions need some better guidance.
Yep.
Right. And they need some honest guidance and not no self-serving guidance. Because that's what they get there. But that's what happens, right? The transfer is, a symptom, but the disease starts at the very, very beginning. And that's picking the college. Right. Like I don't think, even for me, I don't think people understand, as a student athlete especially, what type of process picking the right college is. Right. And D1, D2, D3, NAIA, whatever it is, even if you got an offer from all those different levels. Like picking that school and the one that's suitable for you, when they say it's the biggest decision of your life, it really can be. But it doesn't come with the same type of manuals, the same type of how-to YouTube videos. It doesn't come with any of that. And for a lot of us as athletes, we're first-generation college students, let alone athletes, but first-generation college students. So, like, I know hindsight's 20/20. So I know what I would do differently in picking. But for you, what would you tell young student athletes to prioritize when it comes to picking your school? Especially from the basketball standpoint first, right? Because we are student athletes, but let's keep it a buck. You're going to the school to hoop. Like, what would you look at there, and then education-wise?
Because we're basketball guys, and we're talking about kids going to school to play basketball. The number one thing is going to a place that has a style of play that suits your game. That's number one, because let's face it, like you said, we are student athletes, but you're getting a scholarship to go somewhere. So that means your athletic prowess supersedes your academics right now. I'm sorry. Because you can go anywhere, even if you play basketball or not, and get a degree. But to be able to play somewhere and get a degree, that's something that, 98% of the world can't do.
Yeah.
So you want to go somewhere that fits your style of play, a coach that is someone that you feel as though you can grow under, and it's in addition to that, you want to go somewhere where you're comfortable living. You know, if you're a person that is from the, say, the inner city or what have you, you may want to rethink going to Kansas. It's a different world out there. So, you know, but if the basketball is right, you can pretty much deal with the rest of it. So basketball, the coach, the environment, and then the academics. Because, you know, we've talked to, you know, you and I have talked to guys recently about, you know, the quote unquote perfect academic schools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the perfect academic school is what you make of it.
Absolutely.
That's just how it is, man. You know, if you're willing to learn, you know, at a college, university, you're gonna get the education you need.
No, absolutely. So I agree with that. Style of play is specifically.
Yep.
Right. Like, one, that means you got to understand your game.
Yep.
Right. So you have to make sure that you have someone in your corner, Coach King, Uncle Ro, Morello. Shout out to Morello Vest back home. Somebody that'll tell you, look, this is your game. Right. You don't need to be going to a school that's going to try to have you doing this and just that. But make sure that you can play 2 or 3 different positions. Make sure that you have some mid-range capabilities here that you can get into that action. Yep. Like do that. You know, make sure that, and those are the type of things that when you go on your college visits, right? And everybody gets recruited differently.
Yep.
Right? First of all, the top 10 players in the country, in the world, get recruited completely different. And then that next 50 get recruited different. And then everybody else has different tiers based on their priority at the school. Yep. So based on that, you should know from how you're being recruited what type of priority you are, right? So, you know, if you get those calls every now and then, they letting you know that there will be a spot open, but you're not getting those home visits.
Right.
You're not getting those extra pop-ups when, oh, I didn't know you would be here. I'm just around in town. You know, you're getting some things happening. You know, we won't repeat. Like, understand the difference in somebody prioritizing you and then you just seeing a name and being excited about it, right? And then if you're somebody who really loves the game, talk about your role. Like, really look at the roster, look at the position that you're coming in at, right? Talk to the players and the coaches. Talk to the players specifically, right? Whether they like the coach or not.
Right. Talk
to the players and really get a chance to sit and get an idea of how that coach interacts with the players. Does he keep his word? Right? If he tells you one thing, is he going to lead with that? Right? Is it something that you're going to be able to relate with? Like, figure those things out, because those are going to be important. Because I know I had a different personality, so I wanted a certain type of coach. It was going to be similar to that. Like somebody...
You did have personality.
Yeah, it was different. So you got to make sure that you pair yourself up with somebody who's going to be in that same room and going to push you there, so you know the difference of those things. Yep. Right? And then I'm definitely with you on the environment. Can't go to Utah. You know, I can't be at BYU. So you need to make sure that you take the time and figure that space out. But most importantly, man, make the decision that's best for you. Not concerned about what level you're going at because of what somebody else is going to say. When you're a hooper, they're going to find you. And that's at any level, right? But if you're a hooper, but you're sitting on the end of the bench, it don't matter, right? It doesn't matter if you go D1, but you wait and you don't get to play until your senior year, senior night. Like, think about basketball players, you got to be battle tested, right, OG?
Yep.
You got to be battle tested, whether I'm playing D3, D2, or D1. Yep. If I'm playing 30 minutes, 35 minutes from the time I'm a freshman to a senior, and you went D1, but you only play spot minutes, you're not gonna be able to have the same type of swagger going into the fourth quarter as I am. Right. You're not gonna be as battle tested. You're not gonna have the same type of adjustments in mind.
Yeah, but I'll disagree with that to just a small degree. If you, depending on the coach you play for, if you're coached hard, some coaches coach hard from 1 through 15.
True.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
But most, if you're not in that top 7 rotation,
yeah,
you're forgotten about subject. That's just how it goes. So you know that's why the environment is big, because if you go there and things don't work out, but you love the city, you love the school, you're okay.
Yeah.
You're winning. You're
Yeah.
still winning. But for like most of us, if basketball is number one, you're going to make sure you want to play. And so, as I've been saying for years, why go to a low-level D1 that's a bottom feeder when you go to a powerhouse D2 that really wants you, D3, and do your thing? And it's basketball.
Yeah,
it's basketball. Everybody's so enamored with Division I. One thing about the Last Chance U, those kids didn't get a chance to take visits. Okay, well, for some of those kids, just saying I went D1, 2 years from now, they may transfer themselves.
Word though.
So you just want to go somewhere that's the best fit all around for you. Not your uncle, not your dad, not your mom, not your your boys or whatever, for you.
Right.
Because you're the one that's got to deal with that. So.
And the education piece, because I got to speak on that, right? Because I did my master's degrees and all these other different type of educational things. Academic, I was a part of that academic world, especially post-basketball life. Prestige isn't real, right? Prestige is probably one of those, it's like a buzzword. It's great marketing for the business of universities and the business of schools.
Yep.
Prestige is not real. Whether it's Harvard or wherever else, all those things is just lip service, right? Education, and you're seeing it even more so now with the easy access to information online. People are more aware of the benefit of reading and doing self-education and applying it on your own. That's all college is. Whether you go to Harvard, whether you go anywhere else, right? Everything's going to be based on what you put into it, right? Now that you're in college, whether you're higher ed, in grad school or whatever else, it's about ideas you can formulate and you can put together. If you don't have that, it doesn't matter if you go to Harvard or wherever else. You go to Harvard, as you always say, you're a lawyer, and you leave with a Harvard lawyer degree, right? We know a lot of Georgetown, Harvard lawyers that are making the same $50,000, $75,000 that somebody that went to Slippery Rock University made, right? It's so much more than just, I went to this school. You got to network, right? You got to be able to have some autonomy in your own thinking. Those things come regardless of what school you go to. Right? Education doesn't stop in college. So don't be burdened on yourself like, this school isn't good academically. Are you good? Are you willing to study? Are you willing to do more? If that's a yes to all those answers, you're fine. You'll figure it out, But life as a college athlete, though. Life as a student athlete. It's levels to all of it, but it's tough.
Now as an old guy, I can say you guys had it easier than we had it. I can say that. Now I know that you can say, well, I
don't know. You gotta tell me what that was like. Like what you had to break it down like.
Well, for everybody now, if you go D1, major D1, it's glitz and glamour, right? So
yeah,
I was fortunate enough to go to a big time program. Right. But our coach, he was big time, but he wouldn't let us be big time.
Yeah,
so, we're talking about being in dorms, AC.
Yeah.
We're talking about
humble.
Yes. We're talking about being in dorms. It wasn't an athletic dorm with just us. It was everybody, and he wanted us to always be, the average student, and just like everybody else, but he wanted us to behave above average and be better citizens in the community and things like that. But, there's a lot more in place now where kids can go to school on scholarship and they have a better opportunity to be successful. Where we would be on scholarship and, we're, chomping at the bit for that Pell Grant to come through. So you can buy your winter clothes. And
they still chomping at the bit.
Yeah, but that Pell Grant's a lot heavier now. You know what I'm saying? It's now there's specific stipends that they get, periodically that help them do things that we advocated for back in the day, where doing laundry and things like that, where, some people take for granted that, man, those kids, they complain about doing laundry. Well, if you don't have any money and the laundry costs money, what are you supposed to do? I remember doing certain things like taking, quarters and putting them in stockings and putting them in the washing machine and put them in and pull them right back out. I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Because, right behind Temple, there was a train station. So you could take a quarter, put it on the train track, let it run over the quarter, smooth it out. You can use that joint, boom, 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 over and over and over and over.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so you had to do whatever you had to do, man. You got meal cards and stuff like that where, you could go to, the restaurants and things like that on campus. And so, you had to find little ways to make sure you were always good, because people don't know, like, you might have the cafeteria may close at 6.
Practicing at 9.
Practicing at 9. What you gonna do?
That happened at D3 too.
Yeah, I mean, that's everywhere.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We almost had a shutdown at my second school at Coppin State because of that. A shutdown. We're talking about probably, and this was ignorant on us at the time, but we didn't know any other way to express ourselves. We're talking about probably $1,000, $1,200 worth of silverware messed up. Yeah, like, man, we got to eat.
Yeah.
He just ran us to death. Like, why is the cafeteria closed? So, we protested a little bit and got things changed, and we were taken care of a little bit. But, so those are things, things are changing in favor of the student athlete, but there's so far to go.
Man.
So far to go.
Yeah, and that's something that, people always look at, the fact that, to an extent, athletes are praised. And we always are. We celebrate it for what we do on the court or on the field, right? Whatever entertaining moment, whatever scheduled time that is, they love us for that, right? They hugging us, they leaving stuff in our mailbox, autographs and all those good things. But, and people see that, other people showing us love, but man, that back end, and you talked about all of that. I got to figure out what I'm going to eat. I got to figure out how I'm going to do laundry. I got to figure out how I'm going to stay warm. Yeah. I got transportation issues. I don't have any money. You still got to deal with family. You still got to deal with academics. And you still got to deal with the priorities you have as an athlete. So that's you getting your extra workouts in. That's you being on time to the personal workouts that you got going on, right? That's you being on film sessions and everything else. Like, it's full.
That's everything. Treatment time, study hall. We're talking about community service. Yeah. There's a million things you have to do that people don't know about, that, that they're not going to advertise. But, and as I said before, it's when you're renewable. So you're slacking in one of those things consistently. That's a good reason to get you out of there.
Yeah.
So.
But with all that, we can say that the experience is one of a kind, right? Like traveling with teammates.
Yep.
Going to the different arenas, like having some of your favorite cities and places that you want to play in. Now, this is one for you, because I can't, I didn't get to step into the arenas that you got to step into. But what were some of the livest, the best places to hoop at in college when you were going? Like Temple or Coppin days? Like what day? I remember you were telling me a story about Greg Ostertag when he was in Kansas. And
Fog Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah, Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Like get into that. What were those locations in those stadiums like?
Well, back then, there was no social media.
Right.
So everything was kind of like legend or myth, you know what I'm saying? Because you hear about it on CBS or, you read about it, in USA Today and things like that. So you didn't get a chance to see things up close and personally every day. So, I'm at Temple and we're going to Kansas to play. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they were number 1 in the country. And Greg Ostertag was like one of the top centers in the country. And, we're out there doing, our walkthrough and everything. And he just comes down the tunnel and he's standing there. He's 7 foot, 270 or whatever he is. And he's just standing there. And, I'm a I'm a lowly end of the bench guy, a freshman. I'm sitting there like, that's Greg Ostertag. And like, it's like he had smoke coming from me. Like he had a theme song behind him and everything. And I was
The Undertaker.
I was like, yeah. I was like, yo, look, this is crazy. He's like, we in trouble. You know what I'm saying? But, we had some dogs too.
Yeah.
We had some future NBA guys and stuff. So, we got a chance to get them out of there, their own place. But as a newcomer to college basketball, you were just like, whoa.
Atmosphere was crazy.
It was crazy. Their counterparts, Kansas State. I got a chance to play there when I was at Coppin State. And, their fans are crazy. Like
Little Manhattan.
Man, they bring couches out to the court and sit on the side, and they're on those couches, drunk, acting crazy.
And that was in 90, 94, 5?
Come on, man. Like, you always got something to say. Like,
I was going to say 80, but
you always got something to say. So, some of the most iconic places I've been, we mentioned the Palestra. Like, you just know, you can feel the history when you walk in there. I mean, it's old and beat up, but the lights are awkward and everything, but you can just feel it in there. Yeah. Cameron Indoor Stadium, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. It looks bigger on TV, of course, but it's small, intimate, but
and that's Duke home for all the young guys and girls.
Probably the rowdiest place that I've been in. I've never in my life seen that many students camp out the night before. I've never seen that before. Stanford, I told you I played there after college with Athletes in Action, and I've never been somewhere where the fans jump on the bleachers when you're shooting foul shots or whatever, and the entire floor shakes. That's crazy. And you think of Stanford, you think of Silicon Valley, and you think of like just some wealthy, just low key. Man, they're crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. West Virginia, when Gail Catlett was there, that's in the mountains, and super rowdy, mascot ignorant, like just come. You got a timeout going, and he comes behind you and shoots that musket off indoors.
They still get crazy. I had some friends go to WVU from TC. And one girl, I remember she was talking about they were burning couches after the basketball games. And it was when E. Banks, remember Devin E. Banks and all them, what's our guy name? Deshaun Butler, maybe, who got injured in the Final Four. Remember? Like that area of West Virginia when Huggins was all there going crazy. Man. Yeah, it's just, again, college basketball, we talk about NBA being the most branded, sports entity in the world. Sometimes like some of our kids overlook college basketball because they're only looking at the NBA, but they don't realize that watching March Madness, man, you see some exciting games. You're seeing guys play with passion without the big money involved. And they're trying to get the big money, and they understand that the further they go, the better their chances are to get that money. And, and just, you've worked so hard to get there. Yeah. Class at, 8 a.m, practice, study hall and all this stuff. And, so, people overlook that stuff, man. And in the college basketball environment, man, nothing like it.
It's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible, man.
And everybody always talks about college basketball is that last moment where basketball is still pure. For you individually, like it's that last moment to where it doesn't feel like a job. Even if you think it does, it doesn't until it is your job. Yeah. Right. And you got to feed yourself. Yeah.
It doesn't, because when you get in that moment, the only thing you think about is what we went through. You're looking around, you're thinking like, man, I remember we ran 10 suicides for you. I remember we almost got kicked out of school for you. Mm-hmm. For me, late for the bus that day. I almost got left in Cincinnati. You think about all those things, and then you're looking around, you're thinking that out of the 15 of us, 2 or 3 are going to be professional players, whether in the NBA or overseas. We're going to get jobs. Some of us aren't going to graduate, but this is the last time we'll be together.
Right.
And so, man, those emotions start running through.
Different.
Man, it's different, man. It's different, man.
Especially, right now, Baylor just won his first championship, getting Gonzaga out of there. And Baylor, Scott Drew talked about how, he got numbers. So he talked about how over the last 5 years or so, or maybe even a little bit longer, he's been the most winningest in the Big Five, right? This team has been good. They've been number one a few times. They've been number one and lost. Last year, they would have been a number one seed because of COVID. There was no tournament, right? And this year, they win their first title, and they win it in the middle of a pandemic year, right? And they win it to where they were even the underdogs against Gonzaga, and they came out and handled them.
Yep.
And he talked about, he was talking to Stephen A. Smith, and he mentioned the fact that, it was tough for him last year to tell those seniors who weren't going to get a chance to play that what they had worked for, them being number one in the country, potential number one seed, wasn't going to happen.
Yep.
And he said many kids spend 14 years just to get to the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Right? Like some people's dream is to get there because they know after that, there's no guarantee. I spent 14 years just to work to get to the tourney so I can have a chance. To be an Oral Roberts, right? To be a Loyola, Chicago, to be one of those. Yep. And then, you just never know. So for Baylor to win it, to miss out on it last year, have those returners come back, cherish it, right? And live in that moment and then come back and win it, that's the essence of college basketball and basketball as a team sport.
Yep.
Man. That was tough to even see. So with that being said, we want to make sure the youngins that we have here in Dubai are understanding that. And I think they do know, basketball is much different outside of here.
Right.
And you do have a chance to experience that. There are some young people out there that haven't gotten to see the sport yet, but we're here to show you, there are no limitations to what this game can do for you. Right? So, episode 20, we're going to get ready to wrap it up. Bridgin the Gap podcast. You guys know how we end it. There's always a post-game wrap-up before we lock it out. I'm going to go first today. Let you go. This is something that my aunt always tells me. Aunt Lisa always got the gems. She said, chaos and change begins the same way. It's what you'll do next that matters. All right. Don't fall victim to your circumstance. Don't let one moment define you. Just prepare yourself for what could be. And then when that moment comes, just know that the next step is the only one that matters.
I just hope when we blow, you give her credit for that.
No, for sure. I got the screenshot saved in my phone.
Okay. She needs to get some a monetary.
Sure. She got a whole booklet of what trust me, I'm talking to her saying you need to put together a book. We can sell it.
Okay. Because you stealing a lot of stuff there.
Listen, Lisa, this is all you. Late bloom.
For me, I'm gonna be short and sweet. Surround yourself with good people.
Can't say it enough.
Surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with like-minded people. People that have the same aspirations that you have, that are truly your friends and have your back, that are going to tell you what you need to hear sometimes and not what you want to hear. And they're always going to encourage you to do what you need to do in terms of moving forward. Anybody that's telling you that what you're doing is corny, is crazy, whatever, they're probably not your true friend. They're a little jealous, or they're a little afraid of what life has in store for them, and they're afraid to step out there. If your friends will tell you, being uncomfortable now will help you be comfortable later on in life.
Absolutely. That's it. Like we always say, keep it simple, keep it real, keep it going. Everybody in UAE, Hoopmountain, Dubai. You can find us, Hoopmountain.ae on the website. Hoopmountain.ae on Instagram. Bridgin the Gap Podcast. Follow us. We're on TikTok. Bridgin the Gap podcast. You'll see us. Instagram, Bridgin the Gap _. Follow us, like us, subscribe, comment, all those things. Talk to us. We'll be talking to you guys a little bit more. Shout out to Lighthouse Studio for holding us down. Collective, Abdella and our video guys. They had a long last 2 weeks, but they're back in action. Shout out to my guy Ethan. Discipline and consistency, punk. Let's make these dreams happen, man. All right. That's it for now.